Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead. Today is all about collard greens. I came out here early this morning, actually not too early because I had to run a couple of errands, and gave the collard bed a haircut. I had to run and take care of some errands this morning. You really want to get your collards cut back before the sun gets on them because they'll start wilting. Now, after I got them cut back and I had a couple of cart loads, I think 3 cart loads to take up here to where we're going to process them. And I got them in cold water. Let me go up here and I'll show you what I've done. So I've got all of these collards soaking in cold water. And the reason I put them in these tubs is so we can wash them off, get any pollen, dirt, anything like that on them. These collards were only sprayed one time in the past week with some pyrethrin. Just because we had a few bugs starting to get onto them, worms eating them, but I took care of that real quick. Now the collards that are left down there, they'll keep growing. And in about 2 weeks, we'll have another harvest just like this before we pull them up, terminate that crop, and plant something else. Lisa's down feeding up the chickens. When she gets back, we'll get set up and we'll show you what we do. We take the leaves off of the stems. Those stems just aren't really palatable unless they're small, even if you cook them down for hours and hours. And this variety of collard that we grow is called a Georgia collard. It's a cabbage type collard, and it's really tender, has a mild flavor, and it cooks down pretty quick. We'll actually cook it outside, and then we're going to freeze it in portions for our meals, for sides for our meals. So we'll set the camera up and we'll show you how to destem a few of these, and then we're just going to get to it and get this thing done before the sun gets on us too bad. Now growing collards in a bed like that, they don't get real dirty. So it's pretty easy to clean them off. But here's how you take the stem off. Simple as this. Fold that collard leaf over on its back side like that. Take your fingers, grab hold of the stem, and run it down like that. Where the stem pops, naturally pops off, it's going to be tender when you cook it down. And all these stems are going to go to the hogs. So I'll get all these broke down, and then we will get to cooking them down. Normally we chop them off. We go ahead and chop them before we cook them down. But I'll be honest with you, that takes a long time, and you're in the sun part of the time, and your collards might wilt. Best thing we can do right now is just cook them down whole with just a little bit of salt we throw in there for a mild preservative. And these are going to get frozen. We can chop them when we're ready to put them on the stove and finish the final cooking process. All right, it didn't take us that long to get these destemmed, and they should all fit into the pot. It's about a 6-gallon pot. They'll start cooking down. We're gonna get that out now, get it set up. It's kind of breezy, so we may have to do it inside the garage. Prefer to do it out in the open, but we'll set it up in the garage and start loading collards into it. And just a little bit of salt. We'll season them, chop them when we want to put them on the stovetop and cook them down to go with our suppers. But you can see how easy this is, y'all. Ain't nothing to it. We'll get two different pickings off of these collards, and we'll have enough collards to last for the entire year. Yep. And that's eating them a couple times a week and giving some away. So collards are a great thing to grow. Good for your body, good for your digestive tract, and I just like the way they taste.
Because they're just yummy.
They're yummy. I wish I could cook them the way my Granny Westbrook did. That woman, she could make an entire meal for me out of collard greens. I just can't do it. Maybe my mama can figure it out and cook me something like that. Once you start getting your water hot, we just add some kosher salt, and I just eyeball it, probably about a 1/4 cup. Just enough to give it a little bit of a preservative, because we're going to cook them down for a couple of hours, and then we'll strain out some of the liquid as we're scooping out the collards, putting them in packaging, cooling them off, and getting them into the freezer. We ain't gonna show you putting them in the freezer. We figure you can figure that out yourself. But just showing you the basic thing of what we do. Now you can chop them before you do this, and that's what we normally do. But it just takes 3 times as long. And so we're gonna do it this way this year, because we got so much going on in the different gardens that we don't have the time to dedicate another probably 2 to 3 hours to doing this. Alright y'all, that's going to do it for us today here at the Piney Woods Homestead. If you haven't grown collard greens, it's one of the easiest things to grow. In the spring and in the fall, you can put up a lot of greens. And we've got a lot to put up right here, right now today. Guys, hit the old thumbs up for us, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you have, y'all, we appreciate it. We're going to keep on with these collard greens, let them cook down a few hours, keep adding to the pot as they start cooking down, and we'll have a whole mess of collard greens to put up this evening late. Guys, y'all have a good day, a great week. We'll see you on the next video.